Just a few days ago, Adam Mosseri on Instagram had this really kind of cryptic, weird post that kind of went viral. It was posted all over the place. And I'm just going to read it to you point by point, and we'll kind of just briefly discuss it before getting into the deeper platform mechanics, which is that Adam Mosseri says the key risk Instagram faces is that as the world changes more quickly, the platform fails to keep up. Looking forward to 2026, one major shift: authenticity is becoming infinitely reproducible. Everything that made creators matter, the ability to be real, to connect, to have a voice that couldn't be faked, is now accessible to anyone with the right tools. Deepfakes are getting better. AI generates videos and photos and videos with indistinguishable from captured media. Power has shifted from institutions to individuals because the internet made it so anyone with a compelling idea could find an audience. The cost of distributing information is zero. Individuals, not brands or publishers, establish that there's a significant market for content from people. Trust in institutions is at an all-time low. We've turned to self-captured content from creators we trust and admire. We like to complain about AI slop, but there's a lot of amazing AI content. Even the quality AI content has a look, though. Too slick, skin too smooth. That is going to change. We're going to see more realistic AI content. Authenticity is becoming a scarce resource, driving more demand for creator content, not less. The bar is shifting from, quote, can you create, to, quote, can you make something that only you could create? Unless you're under 25, you probably think of Instagram as a feed of square photos, polished makeup, skin smoothing, and beautiful landscapes. That feed is dead. People stopped sharing personal moments to feed years ago. The primary way people share now is in DMs, blurry photos, and shaky videos of daily experiences, shoe shots, and unflattering candids. This raw aesthetic has bled into public content across art forms. The camera companies are betting on the wrong aesthetic. They're competing to make everyone look like a pro photographer from 2015. But in a world where AI can generate flawless imagery, the professional look becomes the tell. Flattering imagery is cheap to produce and boring to consume. People want content that feels real. Savvy creators are leaning into unproduced, unflattering images. In a world where everything can be perfected, imperfection becomes a signal. Rawness isn't just an aesthetic preference anymore. It's proof. It's defensive. A way of saying this is real because it's imperfect. Relatively quickly, AI will create any aesthetic you like, including an imperfect one that presents as authentic. At that point, we'll need to shift our focus to who says something instead of what is being said. For most of my life, I could safely assume photographs or videos were largely accurate captures of moments that happened. This is clearly no longer the case, and it's going to take us years to adapt. We're going to move from assuming that what you see is real by default to starting with skepticism, paying attention to who is sharing something and why. This will be uncomfortable. We're genetically predisposed to believing what's in front of our eyes. Platforms like Instagram will do good work identifying AI content, but they'll get worse at it over time as AI gets better. It will be more practical to fingerprint real media than fake media. Camera manufacturers will cryptographically sign images that they capture, creating a chain of custody. Labeling is only part of the solution. We need to surface much more context about these accounts who are sharing content so people can make informed decisions. Who's behind the account? In a world of infinite abundance and infinite doubt, the creators who can maintain trust and signal authenticity by being real, transparent, and consistent will stand out. We need to build the best creative tools, label AI-generated content, and verify authentic content, surface credibility signals about who's posting, continue to improve ranking for originality. Instagram is going to have to evolve in a number of ways and fast. And that's where it ends it. Sorry for the long screed there.
Jeez.
It was all over the place. It's crazy. I mean, he was there just
Mosseri?
going at it. That's
Mosseri?
Adam Mosseri last week in, quote, Feed, or actually at the end of last year in Feed is Dead. I'm curious about what your thoughts are on that because he hits on a lot of the same things we just talked about.
Well, there is so much there, but the things that I recall that did stand out to me is his comment on professional-looking photos or polished-looking content, how that's a thing of the past. One thing that you're seeing a lot of right now is carousels of photos.
Interesting.
Of course, videos as well, too. But the latest one that I just did was the 2016 trend, which you're part of it.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the reason I bring it up is that I don't even know how that became a thing. I wonder, neutrally, is that something people have been doing lately? Like at the beginning of the year, they'll show like 10 years back. Like, was there a 2015 one in 2025?
Yeah. Well, no, I think for some reason 2016 was just like
Got
it
it.
happened when 2026 happened.
Somebody just did it, okay? But still, part of the appeal is it's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it looks so different. And that you could say like that was like the height of photos in Instagram, okay?
That's very true. Yeah.
Okay. So everyone was taking all kinds of photos, not just polished photos, all kinds of photos. So they're just putting the highlights. What was going on in 2016? So if you're a creator, so Judy and I noticed all of our creator friends who were big time back then doing it the most, that probably had the most engagement because we were creating a lot of content.
Yes.
So there are some creators that are big now. We call them like new creators or whatever. I don't know. That had some old school photos, but guess what? Their audience has no context with those. With us in 2016, we were definitely doing it full time. Dan Sember, 24-hour live stream. There's just so many epic photos. So why I bring it up, I think there's a return to nostalgia. That's been a thing. And also because it got so competitive at the highest levels of quality, there is something novel about it not being like perfect looking. So,
very true.
So 2016 kind of represent that in a way, but you've been seeing this more and more. You know, another thing that's been coming back is just posting photos again. Number one, it's almost like a protest to just everything being
video.
reels.
Yeah.
But also people taking photos with like disposable cameras or film.
Yeah.
Right? Film cameras.
Oh, I love photographing on film.
Yeah, for sure. And so that feel and that look, people want that, like creators want that because it sets them apart. What's my big takeaway from that? Anytime you can set yourself apart from the pack, the better. So when you find yourself doing everything everyone else is doing, even if you're like jumping on the new trend and it's working, I'm just telling you, like, eventually it's just going to catch up with you because everyone else is going to start doing it. It's better to kind of be like the rebel, be like the outsider, be kind of the loner in content. And I think this is one of the best ways of putting it. Matt Broussard, my friend, he's a chef on YouTube, one of the biggest food creators. He says, be like a bird. When you see a bird on like a branch outside your window, it's singing, it's chirping, whatever. It's like not doing that for anybody. It's doing it for themselves, right? And he says, be like that with content, even if nobody cares. There's some magic in that because you have to just be creating for yourself. Now, I'm not saying like just don't care that you got 0 views forever, right? Like you want to be there. But what I'm saying is you need to do something that isn't like that's super famous or that's going to hit on the algorithm or whatever. And what's funny is the return to nostalgia is kind of that. Like somebody did that and thought, oh, I'm good, and became the whole trend. And that's why AI, interesting enough, making everything look perfect. I actually think just putting yourself out there. By the way, I never wear makeup. So I like make a point to just be what I am all the time. Okay, it looks like I look like I'm dying sometimes, or like I just woke up from like 30 minutes of sleep because my kids woke up at night. I want to look as normal, real, and just like unpolished as possible for a reason, because I know with AI and filters and on top of makeup and looking good, the more authentic you look, the more relatable you look, the better.
Yeah.
So that was what stood out to me. And then 2, the fact that he was so all over the place, and Instagram as a platform has been all over the place, and they're saying, oh, people are going to watch Instagram on TV, but then they're like talking about reels and all that kind of stuff. I am just telling you, it is a great time to be a long form creator on YouTube. That's what I get from that. I know I'm super biased from it, but it's just like Instagram is very difficult to rely on as a creator. It's just all over the place. You could say the same for the algorithm on YouTube, but again, people are building trust, and there's less people willing to do longer content and do live streams. On short form, especially with AI, it's just getting harder and harder. And that goes for TikTok and YouTube Shorts. The benefit of YouTube Shorts, though, is you can migrate over to long form. You can start building your profile there, and it's not as hard to move them to the longer videos because
You're
it's
on the same
app.
Yeah.